be my latest cause to harass Microsoft. I did this a few years ago. There was an IPv6 exploit. Kirk was in on that one. And it took me like 2 or 3 years to harass Microsoft until they fixed it. So this is the new one. And I demonstrated it live in a previous class, but this is unbelievable. If you log into Windows 11, as you know, it won't let you make a local account anymore. It will say you have to make a cloud account like Outlook.com or Hotmail.com. And there are registry keys and hacks to get around that, which I've been using. But if you don't, you make a cloud account. And that's fine. But if you make a cloud account and then turn on Remote Desktop Protocol, you can log in by RDP and control that box with your cloud account. But if you then log into the cloud and change your password, the RDP still works with the old password, which is insane. I mean, why would you change your password except you think somebody knows the old one? Why would you accept an old password? And Microsoft says, well, that way you won't lose connection to your remote box. And I say, well, you could say that, but I wanted to lose connection with the old password. And so it's unbelievable, and I found it to be true. So you go here, you make a cloud account at a Microsoft website, make a cloud account ending like hotmail.com, and then go to your Windows 11 box and make a new account to log in with it. And then you will find you can still log in with the old password. Then you log in once with the original password to create the account on the box. And then when you come back again, it'll still take the old password. So that means it kept a copy of the old password. Some kind of data was kept so it could recognize the old password. Now, Microsoft has had this for a while for another reason. When you have a domain controller, they want you to be able to log in even if the domain controller is unreachable. So they have a thing called cached credentials where it remembers previous passwords you've used to log in to a domain, and it'll let you use them if it can't reach the domain controller. And it's not storing them in plain text. I think it's storing them in hashed value. But anyway, they're there. But you can turn that off. So I said, there must be some way to turn this off. So there's a thing called cached credentials. Windows Credential Manager. So I went in there, and there was a credential manager for my cloud account. So I removed it all, and it had no effect. I can still log in with the old password. So they're storing it somewhere else outside this.
So, but this is the general password for Microsoft 365 or just for the cloud?
For all kinds of things.
So this
is the general credential manager to help you manage stored credentials. Okay, I think these are thinking of client credentials. So if you've logged into a service and it remembers the password to automatically log in, and you want to clear that so another person can't get in.
Right, but now I'm confused with the projects that we did when we opened the cloud account. So for the cloud account, I set up a brand new password that was different from Microsoft 365.
Well, yeah. I mean, you make a new cloud account, yeah,
Okay.
with a password, yeah, and then you log in once, and then you change it on the cloud, and it'll still let you use the old one for RDP.
Cloud to machine relationship.
Well, what's happening is when you try to log into RDP a second time, it doesn't even ask the cloud. It just uses the cached credential, which is strange, and there doesn't seem to be any way to force it to use the cloud, which is what I would like to do. I would like to force it to always check with the cloud. And so I'd like to find some way to clear these credentials off, but they're not in the credential manager, and they're not in where the Active Directory classes. There's a thing in group policy that says number of previous logons to cache. This is a known Microsoft feature. You can set this to 0. And then you can even run regedit as system and look and show that they're gone. And it still has no effect. You can still get in with the old password. So after this, I tried searching through the registry, and I found a registry key for the cloud account, and I deleted that, and that still didn't get rid of it. So I don't know where they're storing it. They're storing it somewhere stupid in Windows, and there's no way to get rid of it. And this is Microsoft, just like...
Make a local login, like, local to the computer versus...
I didn't try that.
The web login, whatever, based
Well,
on the email login, can you just disable that login feature versus just local only, or something like that?
Well, yeah, you could turn off RDP. And by the way, I don't know if it works for local logins. You might be able to log in locally to the box with the old password too.
Yeah.
I know RDP lets you in.
But disable login credential as using the email as a login.
Well, sure, you could cancel the account, yeah. But I mean,
could you just make a new one that's local only, then the problem
yeah,
will go away.
you could, that's right. But Microsoft wants everyone to use these cloud accounts, and it's kind of hard not to. And so it does seem like these cloud accounts have a serious security flaw, and Microsoft sees this as intended behavior. On the website, it says, when a user performs a local login, their credentials are verified locally against a cached copy before being authenticated with identity provider. So if the user changes their password in the cloud, the cached identifier is not updated. This is intended behavior. Microsoft is not having the intention of patching it. And I think, just like that IPv6 exploit from years ago, this is ridiculous. They cannot possibly ignore this and pretend this is okay. At the very least, they have to give us some kind of tool to turn off this behavior for high security situations.
Turn on two-factor authentication?
I don't know how to do that for RDP.
I mean, like when you log in and you're using it as what, email login to the computer?
Yeah. But it's not going to the cloud. It's just looking at your password, some cached copy of your password. There doesn't seem to be any way to add a second factor to it. That would help.
No way to put a second two-factor authentication?
I haven't found it. That's why I mean, I think,
You looked on YouTube or somewhere?
well, I don't know. I put this up. It's going around the security community. Other people, articles are about this. But I think it'll take the usual kind of activism. I think we have to humiliate Microsoft more and more until they're compelled to actually fix it. This is the same as political activism. You tell somebody they don't want to hear it, they say, oh, just shut up. Then they say, oh, you're lying, oh, you're crazy. Eventually, they can't ignore it anymore.
Why don't you just write a proposal for the next RSA, you know?
Well, I could, but hopefully we can get it fixed before then. But yeah, I mean, anyway, it's an interesting, this is Microsoft ignoring the problem, but it's a real problem, and you can do this project to see it yourself. And then people argue about what it means. People usually give me the stupidest things. I remember one time I found something like this, and they said, oh, that password was not a security barrier. And I said, what else is a password? Anyway, so, you might check that out if you want to, and I'm going to be probably humiliating Microsoft about that for a while. So